Heartwarming story. Poor girl discovers her boss is a millionaire, his amazing act changes everything. In the small Midwest town of Maplewood, everyone knew Claire. They recognized her worn sneakers and the way she shined even on her toughest days. At only 22, she was a whirlwind of determination, a single mother working 3 jobs to give her spirited daughter, Lily, a life filled with laughter and dreams. With every pancake flipped at the diner, she poured her heart into each day, desperately trying to fill the void her husband left when he vanished into military service. His absence was a tough battle to fight, but Claire kept the fire of hope alive, especially for Lily. Their tiny apartment radiated warmth, with crayon drawings plastered on the walls. Each bill that piled up felt like a weight, but Claire taught Lily about grit and tenacity, the real treasures of life. That diner, filled with familiar faces and the scent of fresh coffee, became a sanctuary. There, Claire learned to laugh through her exhaustion, smiling at the regulars and offering her best customer service, even as worry gnawed at her heart. Then came Mr. Thompson, the diner's unassuming owner, with his denim overalls and baseball cap. No one could ever guess the secret he kept tucked away, like a hidden gem beneath his plain exterior. Claire developed a friendship with him, bonded over stories of struggle and tenacity. He shared insights about reluctant wealth and the burden of expectations, while Claire opened up about her relentless pursuit for a better life for Lily. They both wore their hardships like badges, creating an unbreakable bond in a town that often turned its back on the struggling. But just when hope began to flicker like a soft candlelight, disaster struck. Lily fell gravely ill, her laughter fading into fragile breaths. Panic gripped Claire. Hospital bills began stacking up like winter snow, and desperation clawed at her thoughts. Would she swallow her pride and ask Mr. Thompson for help? The thought made her stomach twist painfully, but her daughter's health was worth the internal battle. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The news of Lily's illness rippled through Maplewood, drawing the community together in an unexpected way. Neighbors who barely acknowledged Claire now rushed to offer support, food, comforting words, even babysitting for the few moments she slipped away. Her integrity and unwavering love for her daughter became a beacon, shining light on a new sense of community. In this whirlpool of love, Mr. Thompson stood on the sidelines, his heart swelling with admiration for Claire's selflessness. As he watched her struggle, a compassion within him awakened like the first bloom of spring. Just when Claire felt utterly defeated, he stepped forward with an offer of help. The moment hung heavy in the air. It challenged everything she believed about vulnerability and pride. Claire's heart raced as she faced the question that pierced through her resolve: could she accept help without sacrificing her integrity? The very fabric of her existence quaked at the thought. Would she cling to her pride, or would she embrace a new path for Lily's sake? The weight of her future, of hope, and of love rested precariously on the brink of this impending decision. The diner grew quiet, every soul feeling the tension bubbling beneath Claire's unwavering surface. Time seemed to freeze, leaving readers breathless, anxiously awaiting what would come next. The community, and her dreams, hung in the balance as Claire wrestled with the choice that could change everything. Claire's heart hammered like a drum in her chest as she locked eyes with Mr. Thompson. The diner's familiar sounds faded into a dull hum. She couldn't shake the weight crushing her chest. Mr. Thompson's gaze was steady, the kindness in his eyes unwavering. "You don't have to face this alone, Claire," he said gently, his voice wrapping around her like a warm blanket. "Let me help you. You are not just a worker to me, you're family." The word family dug deep into her heart. It felt both comforting and terrifying. Tears welled in her eyes, threatening to spill over. "I can't," she started, her voice trembling. "I can't just accept charity. I need to find a way to manage on my own." "Being strong doesn't mean doing it alone," he replied, his tone soft yet firm. "Allowing people to help you doesn't diminish your strength. It shows your trust in the community that cares about you." As she looked around the diner, her heart pulled in every direction. The faces of her regulars, the ones who had come together to support her, filled her with warmth. Yet, doubt twisted her insides. Could she really reach out for help when she'd spent so long battling through life's storms alone? But then there was Lily, the frail child whose laughter had turned to silence. The thought brought tears to Claire's eyes. It was always about her daughter. She had to put Lily's needs first, even if it meant allowing others to shoulder some of her burdens. With a deep breath, Claire finally nodded. "Okay, I'll accept your help. But I promise I'll repay it. I won't forget this kindness." A smile broke across Mr. Thompson's face, easing the tension in the air. "You don't have to repay anything. Just focus on Lily's recovery. That's all that matters right now." Her decision had lifted a heavy stone off her chest. In that moment, Claire felt a flicker of hope, like a tiny ember that could grow into a flame. She sensed the community rallying behind her, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, she didn't feel alone. Days passed, and with Mr. Thompson's help, Claire scrambled to keep up with the mounting medical bills while ensuring Lily received the care she desperately needed. The diner became more than just a workplace, it transformed into a hub of support. Regulars chipped in, some organized a fundraiser, others simply dropped off meals. Every gesture made her feel a little less isolated and a little more buoyed by compassion. One evening, as Claire sat in the small hospital room beside her sleeping daughter, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Mr. Thompson. "The fundraiser is tomorrow night. Lily needs us, but we also need to show the town what we stand for. Let us spark hope." Claire stared at the words, a swell of emotion rising within her. A ripple of excitement coursed through her veins. Could they really mobilize the entire town into action? But beneath that excitement, fear lingered like an unwelcome shadow. What if the community didn't show up? What if it was all for nothing? She cradled Lily's small hand. "We're going to fight this together," she whispered, her heart swelling with determination. "I promise." The next night, the diner was a hive of activity. The intoxicating aroma of home-cooked dishes filled the air as townsfolk prepared for the fundraiser. But Claire's heart raced not just with anticipation, but with mounting anxiety. As she stepped out of the kitchen to greet the guests filtering in, she caught sight of Mr. Thompson, looking particularly dapper in a blazer over his usual attire. He flashed her an encouraging smile, fueling her determination. The energy in the room crackled, and every heartbeat echoed the question, would Maplewood rise to the occasion? Would they show up for Lily and Claire in their moment of need? But even as the crowd thickened, doubts surged within Claire. Would enough donations come through? Would she be able to repay this kindness, or would she end up feeling like a burden once more? With the crowd now gathered, everyone looked to Claire, their eyes shining with hope and anticipation. It was her moment to speak, to rally them toward something greater. And just as she opened her mouth to share her heart, a familiar face appeared at the back of the room, a face that sent Claire's pulse racing, a face she had not seen in years, the very person she thought was lost forever. "Dave," she gasped, voice trembling. The room went quiet. Would he come back to help, or would this reopen wounds she thought had healed? What would this unexpected reunion mean for Claire, and for the future she was working tirelessly to build for Lily? The silence in the room felt like a tightrope, balanced precariously between hope and uncertainty. Claire's heart raced as she searched Dave's face for answers, but it was a mask of ambiguity. Was he really back in her life after all these years? What did it mean for her and Lily? "Claire," he began, but his voice faltered as the collective gaze of the room turned to him. The diners looked from Claire to Dave with curiosity, trying to put the pieces together. She swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "What are you doing here?" "I heard about the fundraiser and wanted to help," he said, stepping closer, his expression earnest. I've missed this place." Her memories surged alongside her emotions, overlapping like old photographs, the laughter shared over greasy fries, their hopes and dreams painted against the backdrop of a small town. But memories had a way of conflicting with reality. "You left," she said, the tremor in her voice betraying the hurt she tried to bury. "You just disappeared." Dave ran a hand through his hair, his brow furrowed in regret. "I had my reasons, Claire. I thought it was best for you both." The crowd murmured, captivated by the tension. Claire felt as if every conversation in the diner paused, breathing in the moment. Her heart was a battlefield of emotions: anger, love, fear. Each faced off against the other. "I don't want your reasons, Dave. I need actions. Lily needs help, not excuses." The room hung on to her words as if they held the weight of the world. Claire's heart raced again. Could she even trust him? Dave stepped forward again, determination evident in his posture. "I know I messed up, but I'm here now. I want to make things right. I want to help Lily." A flicker of uncertainty rippled through Claire. Could she let this man back into her life? The father of her daughter, the man who had once shared in her dreams, the one who had walked away? "Help how?" she asked, her voice steady despite the storm brewing within. "By just showing up, or do you actually intend to do something?" He hesitated, swallowing hard. "I can donate more than just money, Claire. I can help in ways you can't imagine. With medical bills, with anything you need. I want to be part of Lily's life, if she'll let me." Claire's heart softened, yet walls built over years scratched her insides. "You think it's as easy as throwing money at us and thinking that makes everything okay?" "Not just money," he emphasized, stepping ever closer. "I want my family back. I want to actually do right by you both." The room's energy shifted, the townsfolk quietly observing, sensing the weight of the moment. They had gathered for a purpose, to show support, but it was clear that this reunion tugged at their hearts, too. Dave's eyes bore the sincerity she had longed for once. Her fingers twitched at her side as worry mingled with the flicker of long-lost hopes. Her gaze shifted to the crowd. One by one, faces of friends and neighbors echoed reassurance. As she searched for their thoughts, Mr. Thompson held her gaze steady, nodding just once as if to say, "Trust your heart." Claire inhaled, gathering her resolve. "If you truly want to help, then show up every day. Be here for us, be present, not just a name in a checking account. You need to prove to Lily and to me that you want us in your life." The air hung thick with tension, both vulnerable and expectant. Would he stand up to the challenge? Or would she find herself taking a step back into old wounds? As her heart pounded in her chest, intently watching him, Claire felt the flicker of something else, an ember of hope. But even as something shifted between them, a loud crash from the back of the diner startled the crowd. All eyes turned toward the clattering sound, leaving Claire and Dave teetering on the edge of a pivotal moment. What was that? Someone shouted as the tension morphed into a new fear. Claire's heart dropped. Unexpected chaos had swooped in, interrupting a life-altering conversation. There would be no easy answers, everything was still so uncertain. But even as worry washed over her, she realized that maybe, just maybe, hope had begun to take root. Claire turned back to Dave, the weight of her choice hanging in the air like fragile breath. What now intensified? Would they face this new threat together, or would old wounds resurface just when she thought healing was within reach? Claire's heart raced as the crash echoed through the diner. The noise had shattered the fragile moment between her and Dave, and for a brief second, the weight of every unspoken word seemed to hang in the air like a ghost. The crowd stirred, eyes darting around, trying to figure out where the noise had come from. Claire's instincts kicked in. She felt the protective surge of a mother, her mind racing with the worst-case scenarios. What was it? She whispered, her voice trembling. Dave instinctively stepped in front of her, positioning himself as a barrier between her and the unknown chaos. "Stay here," he instructed, his voice firm yet gentle. With each step he took toward the back of the diner, Claire's heart clenched. Would he truly protect her, or would this be yet another situation that put her and Lily in harm's way? Her hands trembled, but she couldn't just stand there. She had to know. Ignoring the knot in her stomach, she moved to follow him, pushing through the throng of bodies. The diner was alive with whispers, the din of apprehension overshadowing the comforting hum of conversations from moments before. As Claire reached the back, her eyes widened at the sight. A large stack of chairs tumbled onto the tiled floor, the legs clattering painfully. There, amidst the wreckage, an elderly gentleman sat on the floor, rubbing his leg. "Mr. Lewis!" Claire exclaimed, rushing forward. He was a fixture in the diner, always sharing stories with everyone and leaving tips for the staff that were often more generous than he could afford. Dave was already kneeling beside him, his earlier bravado replaced with genuine concern. "Are you okay?" he asked, voice low but steady, as he reached for the old man's arm to help him stand. "I think I just tripped, dear," Mr. Lewis chuckled, though his smile faltered when he winced. "Old bones just don't take falls like they used to." Leaning closer, Claire pulled at the edges of her worry. "Let me see," she said gently, kneeling beside them. She scanned his leg, which was beginning to bruise. "All right, not the most graceful moment, I'll admit," Mr. Lewis joked, trying to lighten the situation. "But I didn't come here to break any records, just wanted to support that sweet little girl. Lily." The thought struck Claire like a bolt of realization. Her daughter was the reason they were all gathered here. "Can I get you some ice?" Claire offered, her focus shifting back to Mr. Lewis. "You should really see a doctor." "I'm fine, darling," he said, still chuckling, but dabbing the corner of his eyes. "Well, I will be if you keep bringing your sunshine into this world." Amidst the still shocked crowd, Claire caught a glimpse of Dave. He stood, hands in pockets, observing the scene. It hit her then, the man she had wanted to guard her and Lily was capable of so much more than just words. "Maybe," she began, her voice tentative but hopeful. "This is our chance to start anew, together, as a team." Dave's eyes locked onto hers, something shifting subtly in his expression. It was as if the weight of their past was momentarily forgotten. But just as Claire felt the spark of possibility reignite, a new voice sliced through the air like the crack of thunder. "Claire!" It was Lily, standing wide-eyed at the entrance, clutching her teddy bear. "What's happening?" "I heard a noise." Claire's heartbeat quickened again, this time laced with duty and warmth. In an instant, she knew this was the moment they needed to come together for Lily. The stakes were higher than ever. As she rushed towards her daughter, Claire glanced back at Dave, a question silently hanging in the air. Would he choose to step forward and truly embrace the family they could be? The weight of the moment pressed down on them, but the promise of something new lingered, electric with potential. Would they confront their past together, or would the shadows loom too large? Just then, a shrill cry broke through the air, crackling with urgency. What would that moment reveal? Would it be the breaking point or a turning stone toward healing? "Mommy!" Lily's voice was a piercing arrow, cutting through the uncertainty that hung like a fog in the diner. Claire turned, fear prickling at the edges of her heart, her eyes quickly scanning for any sign of danger. But there was just her little girl, with wide eyes and teddy bear held tightly, looking more confused than afraid. Kneeling down, Claire opened her arms. "I'm here, sweetheart. Just a little accident, but everyone is okay." She could see the worry soften in Lily's face, but Claire couldn't shake off the anxiety bubbling within her. It felt like their whole world spun on a fragile axis, and one wrong move could turn them too far. Dave stepped closer, but his presence was different now, grounded and calm. "Lily, everything's all right. Mr. Lewis slipped, but Claire and I are here." He smiled at her, and in that moment, it was like a shield had formed around them, blocking out the chaos for just a bit longer. Lily looked from Dave to Claire, her expression mixed, searching for the reassurance only a mother could provide. "Is Mr. Lewis really okay?" she asked, rubbing her teddy bear's soft fur between her fingers. "He's tough, just like you," Claire replied softly, straightening up. "But we need to make sure he's feeling better." Mr. Lewis, still smiling through the pain, nodded. "I'll be just fine, young lady. Just needed a little help from your beautiful mom." "Can we help him, Mommy?" Lily's innocent question hung delicately in the air, shifting the burden of responsibility solely onto Claire's shoulders. It was both heartwarming and heavy, a sweet reminder of what truly mattered, their little family, flawed but vibrant. "Of course," Claire replied, her heart swelling with purpose. "Let us find some ice for his leg, and then we can make sure he's comfortable." As she turned back to gauge Dave's reaction, she saw something had changed in his demeanor as well. His brows were knit together, looking deeper now, as if he were reconciling a part of himself that had long been tucked away. Lily led the way, so full of hope and innocence, and Claire felt her heart squeeze at the thought of such a bright future before them. It wasn't just about healing Mr. Lewis, it was about healing their family too. While Claire rummaged through the ice maker behind the counter, she couldn't help but overhear snippets of conversation from the crowd still lingering in the diner. Some were offering help, others were laughing nervously, but they were all united in this small moment of concern for Mr. Lewis. Claire felt the warmth of the community envelop her as she placed the ice in a towel, ready to rush back to the elderly man. "Here we go," she called out, raising the makeshift compress. But as she turned, ready to deliver it, she noticed something out of the corner of her eye. Dave was no longer looking at her, he was staring past her, his expression unreadable. "Dave?" Claire's voice cut through the sudden silence. She was about to ask what was wrong, but he held up a hand. "Claire, we need to talk." The weight of his words settled like lead in her stomach. This wasn't about the accident anymore. The undercurrent of tension drawn between them had surfaced, and everything hung on the precipice of a moment. Would he finally open up about the past? Or was it about illusions that had long clouded their judgment? Lily stood between them, oblivious yet sensing the shift, her innocence a stark contrast to the heavy atmosphere. "What's wrong?" she asked, concern tinged with a hint of confusion. "Nothing, honey," Claire said quickly, attempting to mask the crack forming in her bravado. But Dave's gaze didn't waver from hers, it was a look that demanded attention. As Claire stepped closer, the world around them faded. This was a crossroads, the point where they could either untangle their history or let it continue to weave a web of unspoken fears. The diner had transformed into a sanctuary of possibilities, but would they seize the moment? Uncertainty danced in Claire's heart. What truth was waiting to be revealed, and could it lead them towards a future they never dared to imagine? Dave took a breath, the kind that spoke volumes more than words ever could. "Not here, Claire," he murmured, glancing at several watchful faces in the diner, their attention still lingering on Mr. Lewis. "It's private." Claire's heart raced. The weight of his gaze felt heavy, as if he were pulling her into a vortex of long-buried emotions. She looked at Lily, who still clutched her teddy bear, the innocence in her eyes dancing against the somber atmosphere. "Sweetheart, why don't you check on Mr. Lewis?" Claire said, trying to steady her voice. "Okay." Lily nodded enthusiastically and trotted to the elderly man, her small figure a bright flicker of hope. As soon as they were alone, Claire turned to Dave, her own heart pounding in her chest. "What is going on? What do we need to talk about?" "I've been thinking a lot," he began, his voice barely more than a whisper. "About everything the last few months. The arguments, the distance. I don't want us to keep avoiding it. The words hit Claire like a gust of cold wind. Could this really be a moment of clarity? Then let us talk, she replied, stepping closer as her pulse quickened. What's been on your mind? I need to share something. Something that's been haunting me. He rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture of vulnerability. It's about our past, Claire, and how I thought I could ignore it, but it's still here, lurking underneath. Claire felt a tightness in her chest. The past was a vast landscape of pain and regret. If it's about what happened with your brother, no. It's more than that. It's about us, Dave said, pain flickering across his face. I've been afraid of losing you. Afraid that you'd see me like I see myself, broken and unworthy. But I can't keep hiding from those feelings. Claire's heart cracked open as she listened. This was the response she had longed for, yet here it was raw and exposed. You're not broken, Dave. You've been carrying so much, and I haven't been there for you. We've let the past cloud our future. He nodded, his eyes reflecting a mix of fear and hope. I'm tired of feeling this way. I want to fight for us, but I don't even know how. At that moment, Claire realized they had both been standing at the edge of a canyon, afraid to leap. But here, dialogue between them could become the bridge they needed. We have to start small, maybe even just a conversation a day where we don't put up walls, she urged, her voice filling with determination. Somewhere in the distance, laughter echoed, mingling with the soft chatter of the diner's life continued, oblivious to their turmoil. Let us try, he whispered back, his eyes softening. But before Claire could respond, Lily's light-hearted giggles danced back to them, drawing their attention. Can we make Mr. Lewis a card? She suggested with innocent excitement. Claire's stomach twisted in a swirl of bittersweet emotions. It felt like the world outside was moving, a steady rhythm of life and love, while they were still figuring out their own footsteps. She smiled at Dave, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. Yes, let us do that, she agreed, squeezing his hand tightly. As they turned toward the little girl, Claire caught a glimpse of a new beginning flickering in the corners of Dave's eyes, hope lighting the way through the shadows. But just then, Claire's phone buzzed in her pocket. She didn't want to look, not now. But the persistent ringing tugged at her, and she slowly reached for it. Her heart sank as she glanced at the screen. It was a call from someone she hadn't expected. Who is it? Dave asked, sensing the tension knotting in her stomach once more. I don't know. But I have to answer, Claire said, her resolve wavering. She could already feel a storm brewing, one that might interrupt this fragile moment of connection. Is it urgent? He pressed, concern etched on his face. As Claire's fingers hovered over the phone, uncertainty washed over her. What if this call disrupted everything they had begun to mend? What truth might lie on the other end, and could it lead them further apart? Mommy? Lily's anxious voice broke her concentration. Claire closed her eyes for a moment, weighing the choice before her. What awaited on the other end of that call, and would it unravel the hope she felt blooming between them? Claire's heart raced as she hesitated, the phone buzzing like a frantic alarm. She could feel Dave's eyes on her, a mixture of hope and worry. Mommy, are you okay? Lily tugged at her sleeve, her little voice breaking through the tension. Suddenly, the weight of the moment felt heavier. Just a second, sweetheart, Claire replied, trying to keep her voice steady. She glanced at Dave, who was studying her intently. She couldn't ignore the feeling that whatever was on the other end of the call might change things for all of them. Taking a deep breath, she pressed the green button. Hello? A faint voice crackled on the line. Claire? It's Sarah, I need to talk. It's about your dad. The world around her faded for a moment. The cozy diner, the warmth of Dave's hand, even Lily's bright laughter blurred into the background. This was not what she had wanted to hear. Not now. My dad? Is he okay? Her voice trembled slightly, fear creeping in, nudging her closer to panic. "Claire, just listen. It's complicated." He's been trying to reach out, and Claire pulled her gaze from Dave, feeling suddenly trapped, as if the walls were closing in around her. All her unresolved feelings about her dad were bubbling to the surface. She had spent years trying to distance herself from him, from the chaos he always seemed to bring. "Can't this wait?" "I'm in the middle of something important," she interrupted, her voice sharper than she intended. "I understand, but this can't wait either," Sarah insisted, her tone urgent. "He's asking for you." Claire closed her eyes again, forcing a wave of emotions to settle. She glanced back at Dave. The concern was evident in his furrowed brow, but she caught a flicker of understanding in his gaze. "Sarah, if this is about him being sick or something worse, you need to tell me everything," Claire whispered, feeling the tears prickling at her eyes. "Let us meet. I'll explain everything. In person." The call ended, leaving Claire grasping the phone tightly, her heart pounding, uncertainty swirling in her mind. Would this news send her further down the path of estrangement or pull her back into a past she had tried to escape? "Claire?" Dave said softly now, his voice breaking through her fog. She looked at him and saw not just concern but a resolve, as if he was ready to walk through whatever she would choose next. "Are you okay?" He pressed, his hand gently squeezing hers. I don't know what this means," Claire admitted, feeling weak as she realized Dave was firmly anchored in the storm that was her life. "My dad, he's asking for me. But it's complicated." Dave nodded slowly, absorbing her words. "You don't have to go alone. I'm here. We can figure this out together." Claire felt a warmth seeping into the cracks of her worry. They had come so far in a short time, and maybe now was the moment to truly test the strength of what they had begun to build together. Just then, Lily's playful voice broke into the heavy air once more. "Mommy. Can we start making the card for Mr. Lewis?" Just like that, the weight of the world lightened, if only a little. Claire looked at her daughter, then back to Dave. "Okay," Claire said, taking a deep breath. "Let us focus on Mr. Lewis first." With hesitation still swirling in her stomach, she tucked her phone into her pocket and forced a smile for Lily. But as Lily sketched out her card with bursts of crayon color, Claire's mind was already churning with unanswered questions. Would she ever be ready to face her past? And could she walk that complicated path with Dave by her side, or would this revelation fracture their tentative reconciliation? "Mommy?" Lily's voice pulled her back from her thoughts. "What color should I use for Mr. Lewis's hair?" "Maybe gray." "Like your grandpa," Claire replied heavily, while she contemplated the looming shadows of family and forgiveness that threatened to overtake them all. But did she even know where to start with her father? As she looked into her daughter's eager eyes, she sensed that whatever the answer was, it was waiting for her just around the corner. With the air filled with hope, the question hung above them: what would happen next, and could they all find their way back to each other? As the vibrant colors danced across the page, Claire found herself momentarily lost in the rhythm of Lily's happy laughter. She admired her daughter's focus, the way her tongue peeked out in concentration as she carefully colored the card for Mr. Lewis. Each stroke of the crayon felt like a small slice of joy, a stark contrast to the anxiety bubbling just beneath the surface of Claire's thoughts. But the warmth was fleeting. The dreaded call about her father loomed large, overshadowing this innocent moment. She glanced over at Dave, who was watching Lily with a soft smile, but even that comfort began to feel distant. Would he still look that way if he knew the mess her family had created? She let out a quiet sigh, unsure of what to do. "Can I draw a rainbow, Mommy?" Lily chirped, eyes bright with excitement. "Of course, honey. That sounds perfect." Claire's voice wavered slightly, but she masked it well. The card for Mr. Lewis was one of their little family traditions, a token of gratitude for his kindness. And today, it was a distraction Claire desperately needed. As Lily layered bright colors across the paper, Claire's thoughts drifted back to her father. What could Sarah possibly want to tell her? What had changed since the last time Claire had decided to completely shut him out? Memories flashed like lightning, moments of anger, sadness, and regret. She had felt so liberated walking away. But now, she questioned whether that liberation had been worth the costs. "Mommy?" Lily's voice pulled her from the whirlpool of thoughts. Can we make one for you too? For your daddy?" Claire froze. The mention of her father now felt like a vehicle carrying the weight of bricks, each one heavy with unresolved feelings and hurt. She was determined not to pass her own feelings onto her daughter, yet the idea of confronting her dad was suddenly all-consuming. "You know," Dave said gently, sensing her turmoil. "It's okay to talk about your dad, Claire. If you ever want to share what you're feeling, I'm here." He reached across the table, resting his hand alongside hers, grounding her. Slowly, Claire nodded, trying to absorb that small, flickering light of support. "Thanks, Dave," she started, but her voice hitched in her throat. "I just wish things were simpler." Lily, blissfully unaware of the tension, offered a thrilling suggestion filled with innocence. "Let us draw a big heart. Because we love Mr. Lewis." A heart. The simplicity of it caught Claire off guard. Between all that chaos with her dad, she had forgotten what it felt like to love freely. Could love be that uncomplicated? For once, she didn't hesitate. "Yes, a heart," Claire exclaimed, feeling a spark of hope stir within her. As the three of them drew and laughed, the heart took shape, vibrant and full of color just like her daughter's spirit. But in the back of her mind, Claire couldn't shake the feeling that all of this was merely a prelude. Sarah was waiting to speak about her father, and the emotional weight of that conversation was pressing down harder with each passing minute. After a while, Lily's eyelids started to flutter. "Can we go home now, Mommy?" she asked sleepily, her crayon slipping from her fingers. "Sure, love." Claire smiled, glancing at Dave. "What do you think? Do you want to join us for some hot chocolate?" But Dave's expression shifted, a subtle tension ran across his face. "Actually, I need to check on a few things at home. But I'll be just a call away, okay?" Claire felt the regret pooling in her stomach. "Okay, I'll call you later. Thank you for being here with us." He nodded, a smile still on his face, but there was an undercurrent of something else, a reflection of the complicated emotions swirling around them. As they made their way out of the diner, Claire felt light yet heavy at the same time. The prospect of dealing with her father loomed large. Could she truly navigate this path of forgiveness alongside an uncertain relationship with Dave? "Mommy, what's wrong? Are you sad?" Lily's innocent question made Claire halt in her tracks. "No, baby, just thinking," she said, forcing a smile. But deep down inside, she knew she would have to confront the shadows of her past, the chaos brought by her father. The heart they drew together echoed her own yearning for hope amidst the uncertainty. With every step home, the reality loomed: tomorrow would be the day she had to take that first step back into her past. But was she truly ready to embrace the tangled threads of family and forgiveness? The thought hung in the air, heavy and unresolved, as they walked onward together. Claire locked the door behind them, the familiar click echoing through the quiet house. The warmth inside felt inviting, yet an uneasy chill lingered within her chest. Lily ran to the living room, her energy seemingly endless despite her earlier fatigue. Claire could hear the soft sounds of her daughter's toys being shuffled and flung about, but her mind drifted back to the looming conversation with her father. She walked into the kitchen, needing to focus on something tangible. As she brewed a pot of coffee, the familiar sounds helped ground her. The bubbling of the water, the rich aroma of coffee beans filling the air, it all felt somewhat normal. But what would normal mean tomorrow? "Mommy, look!" Lily's cheerful voice broke through her thoughts. Claire turned to see her daughter holding the colorful heart they had drawn earlier, now proudly displayed on the corner of the table. The sight brought a tender smile to Claire's lips, a glimmer of warmth in the cold slice of anxiety that had settled in her stomach. "That's beautiful, sweetheart," she called out, her heart swelling at Lily's enthusiasm. Lily grinned, her eyes sparkling. "Can we send it to Mr. Lewis now?" "Soon, honey. First, let us get you ready for bed." Claire's heart tugged. The innocence of childhood was such a precious thing. It reminded her of simpler days, before the complexities of family turmoil crept into her life like unwelcome shadows. After reading Lily a story, tucked under her favorite blanket, Claire tiptoed out of the room, feeling the weight of the world press down on her shoulders. She leaned against the door frame, her mind racing. Could she really do this? Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her spiraling thoughts. It was Sarah. A rush of adrenaline coursed through her. The uncertain nature of the conversation loomed ahead, and for a moment, she hesitated. Finally, she swiped to answer. "Hey, Sarah Claire. I'm glad you picked up. I know it's a lot to ask, but can we meet tomorrow?" The request sent a rush of trepidation through her. "Tomorrow?" "Yes. I think it's important about your dad." Claire swallowed hard. "Okay. Where? What about that park we used to visit? It's quiet and I think it'll be good." As they made plans, Claire felt the hands of time slow down. Tomorrow loomed larger than before. Could the heart they had drawn, in all its vibrancy, serve as a reminder of love amidst her uncertainty? "Claire, are you still there?" Sarah's voice snapped her back to the present. "Yeah, I'm here," she said, forcing a breath. "Okay. We'll figure this out. I promise." They hung up, and Claire felt like a balloon, floating but tethered to earth by gravity's pull. She glanced at the heart on the table again, her heart aching with a mix of hope and apprehension. Morning arrived with uninvited urgency. The sun filtered through the curtains, casting stripes of light across the floor. Lily was still asleep, and Claire had already dressed for the day, her nerves brimming. There was no escaping the moment she would have to face the conversation head-on. Taking a deep breath, she poured herself another cup of coffee, trying to calm the racing thoughts. As she sipped, she caught sight of the heart once more. It reminded her of the love that could exist even amidst chaos. A small, optimistic thought crept in, perhaps this could be a turning point. Perhaps forgiveness was achievable. But as she picked up her phone to text Sarah that she was on her way, a sudden wave of doubt hit her. What if nothing changed? What if facing her father only unearthed more pain? Those questions lingered, swallowing her whole as uncertainty wrapped around her like a thick blanket. Could she possibly find her way back? With one last look at the heart, Claire stepped outside, ready to take the first step into the unknown. As the door clicked shut behind her, she felt the weight of what lay ahead, a bittersweet promise that the journey toward healing might just begin with a small, colorful heart. Tomorrow, she would finally confront the tangled threads of family, not just for herself, but for Lily as well. But could love be a strategy for rebuilding what was broken? The park was alive with the sounds of laughter and birds singing, but Claire felt a dissonant silence wrapping around her heart as she approached. Her nerves danced on the edge of panic, but there was no turning back now. She spotted Sarah sitting on a bench shaded by an old oak tree, the very tree where childhood memories had flourished. "Claire, you made it," Sarah called, standing up to embrace her. There was warmth in her hug, but underneath it, Claire felt a lingering tension. "Thanks for meeting me, Sarah," Claire said, sitting down as her heart drummed a quick tempo. "Of course. I was afraid you might not show up," Sarah replied gently, her eyes searching Claire's face for answers. "Look, I know this is complicated, but I've spoken to your dad." Claire's breath caught in her throat. "And? He's been trying to reach out. He wants to explain." Claire's stomach twisted. Explain what? All the years he just didn't care? Sarah took a breath, steadying herself. He does care, Claire. He has been fighting his own battles, and he finally realized he doesn't want to keep hurting you. He was wrong to turn his back on you. In that moment, Claire felt a mix of anger and confusion bubble up. It's easy to say that now, she shot back. What about the years of silence? The hurt? Exactly. But can you find it in you to listen? He wants a chance to earn your forgiveness. For you and for Lily, Sarah urged. Claire's heart raced at the mention of Lily. This isn't just about me anymore, she admitted quietly. But what if it's all just talk? More empty promises? Silence fell between them, heavy with past hurts and unspoken words. Finally, Claire spoke, I need to decide if I want to do this. Think of it as another step forward, Sarah said, her voice soft but firm. You're stronger than you know. And think about Lily. Having some closure might be better for both of you, don't you think? Claire nodded slowly, the weight of her decision settling in. Okay. I'll meet him. But this is my last chance. Just be honest. Whatever happens, I'll be here for you, Sarah assured, squeezing her hand. After the meeting ended, Claire felt a strange relief washing over her anxieties. She had taken a step, albeit a tentative one. But as the day wore on, she could feel the flicker of hope mixing with fear. The following day, Clara arranged to meet her father at the diner, the same place where her life had begun a new chapter with Mr. Thompson. As she stepped through the familiar door, the scent of coffee enveloped her like a warm hug. She spotted her father sitting at a far booth, an old man now, despite the stubborn light in his eyes. Claire, he began, his voice trembling. Dad, she replied, unsure of how to proceed. The pounding of her heart echoed in the silence. You look well, he said, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Thanks, she replied curtly, crossing her arms across her body. You wanted to see me. He nodded, his hands trembling slightly. I know I let you down. I've been sick, and I've had a lot of time to think. About you and Lily. I regret every moment I spent away. I'd like to know my granddaughter. Those words hit her like a splash of cold water. You really think you can just walk in now and act like you care? I wish I could take it all back, Claire. I was lost. But not a day has gone by that I didn't wish I could be there for you both, he confessed, his voice thick with emotion. She felt the walls she had built, brick by brick, start to tremble. You have no idea what it's been like. The battles I fought alone I know, he interrupted, and Claire felt her heart skip. I've seen the pain I caused you. That's why I'm here, to put things right, to be there for you. That's a lot of promises for someone who walked away, Claire said, her voice quivering. But I want to try, Claire. If you'll let me, I want to be part of your life. Part of Lily's life. Claire stared at him, tears welling in her eyes. This was the moment she had both dreaded and longed for. Could she really allow him back into her life? Into Lily's life? As if he could read her thoughts, his voice softened. All I'm asking is a chance. No expectations, just an opportunity to earn back your trust. Time seemed to hang in the balance. Each second felt like a drop of rain on the window of the diner, together forming a flood of emotion. Finally, Claire spoke, her heart pounding. Okay. But this will be hard for both of us. You'll have to prove it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, he said, and for the first time, she saw sincerity in his eyes, a glimpse of the man who left so many scars. In that moment, Claire felt the first spark of healing ignite within her. Hope wasn't a distant wish anymore, it was something tangible. Something bright. As she left that diner, alongside the weight of the past, she carried the glimmer of possibility, knowing that together, they could face the unknown. As she walked into the warm sunshine outside, Claire felt lighter, the warmth growing in her heart. Love, she realized, was not just about being perfect. It was about giving chances, bridged by forgiveness and healing. Moments later, her phone buzzed with a text from Dave, "I'm here for you. Always will be." A smile crept onto her face as she texted back, "Thank you." As Lily ran into her arms, the heart they had colored in vibrant hues reminding Claire of the love and resilience that was abundantly theirs. Together, they would face their challenges, knowing that every step forward mattered, every heart held potential. "Mommy, did you talk to Grandpa?" Lily's innocent voice echoed like a songbird, filling Claire with warmth and determination. "Yes, sweetheart. And it's just the beginning." With those words, Claire felt a sense of serenity wash over her. The transformation had begun, the journey to healing and love was now underway. This was the moment. The moment to embrace what family truly meant, no matter the challenges. Her heart soared, wiser and full as they walked home together, knowing they would face whatever came next together as family. Now, just like Claire, you have the power to change everything. You need to subscribe now to witness more inspiring stories that can transform your life. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure these stories reach those who need them most. Comment below your thoughts about this journey of healing and love. Share your own stories with us. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Thank you for it. Together, we can grow this beautiful community.